Welcome back to Collecting Cars, and another of our recently consigned cars, one of the rarest and most desirable of all MGs of the post-World War II era, the MGA twin cam. Only 2,011 of these were ever built over its short 2.5-year production run, and I'm lucky enough to be driving one of these on this glorious spring day. The MGA Twin Cam was a limited production sports car offered both in roadster and coupe versions and was built between 1958 and the early part of 1960. The aesthetic upgrades over the standard car were subtle and mainly distinguishable from the twin cam badging and the recognisable steel Dunlop wheels. But it was underneath the body where the real differences were made, most notably a unique twin cam engine and 4-wheel disc brakes. The engine was fed by a pair of 1 3/4-inch SU carburettors, giving the 1588cc engine 108 brake horsepower, which was a significant increase over the standard MGA, which had around 68 horsepower. Only 2,111 of these were built over its short 2.5-year production, and I'm driving one on this glorious spring day. For me, the MGA has to be the prettiest of all MGs. I'll wait and stand corrected, but it is absolutely gorgeous and has some really beautiful, clear, flowing lines. At the front, it's adorned by loads of chrome work and really sort of sparkles and stands out. Very prominent MG grille. And then the lines sweep down uninterrupted by any door handles. Towards the back of the car, it's got these lovely rear haunches which sit over the Dunlop alloy wheels. Now from the back, if you remove the badges, you could be forgiven for looking at this and thinking that it might be a Jaguar X K120, because it really does have that iconic look about it, except that you might note the Dunlop alloys there, and then obviously we've got a big MGA twin cam badge on the back to give the game away. A decent enough size boot, more than enough and certainly more than most of this era. The interior of the car is that nice balance between satisfyingly simple and luxurious. You've got these nice, thick, padded leather seats, plenty comfortable enough, and a lovely armrest on the inside there for the driver or passenger, but certainly you won't be rubbing shoulders too closely. Now under here is obviously the gorgeous twin cam engine, but one of the things that is particularly nice about these old cars, and the MGA in particular, is the shape of the bonnet, which is sort of curved round in the front of the car rather than sort of taking up this large chunk in an angular fashion. We've got this lovely sort of dome shape bonnet. Now we've got the hood off today, but it conveniently stores very nicely behind the seats here. So just behind this leather flap, you can see this gorgeous red hood stashed away conveniently there. And then this leather flap comes down and protects the back of the seats from getting marked or scuffed. Now I mentioned the doors and the door handles earlier on. There are none. Instead, conveniently, we've got the top off today, so it's slightly easier, but you just reach over and then you pull this cord to open the door. If you've got the side curtains on, then you'd obviously have to slide the window back and then reach inside. But conveniently enough, hood's off, so that's no drama today. quite a snug fit getting in, but once you're in, it's super, super comfortable. Close the door on yourself like that, and the arm naturally reaches this very sort of dapper pose as you kind of rest one arm on the armrest and the other just sits on the door sill like this. You can't help it really. Now the instrument gauges are all pretty standard and self-explanatory, but then you've got all the switch gear and pulls out here and they're all labelled just with one single letter. So W clearly for wipers, we've got C for choke, we've got S for start here, and actually another S over here. I haven't dared pull that, probably send some water sort of jetting up in my face or something if it does even have those. Across to the right hand side there's just a toggle switch for left and right to turn the lights on and for your indicators. Then the handbrake is down to your left hand side, so it's a fly off handbrake, so nice sort of racing style for the MGA twin cam. And then a 4-speed manual gearbox, which is actually a delight to use. Oh, and one other thing, the horn sits nicely in the centre there, just around the heating box. For the passenger, there aren't many creature comforts, but it does have a little light here, presumably for helping you read maps if you're on a tour or perhaps you get lost, like we've got iPhones now, eh? There's no glove box, which is another thing. Instead, you just get a panel here reminding you of the MG heritage. I think that's probably enough car waffle. Time for a drive. What a day to be driving this car. The quintessential British sports car out in the English countryside. The car was absolutely perfectly designed for resting your right elbow out the window. Such a comfy pose. It's also lovely that the exterior of the body isn't spoiled by the wing mirrors. You can obviously put on some bullet hole wing mirrors or something like that if you want to. But the mirror in the centre here does just the job you need it to. Now a lot of the cars in this period, like the Aston Martins and Austin Healey's, had Smith gauges. This one actually has Jaeger. And they look very, very cool. It's a very simple layout in front here, just the speedometer, rev counter, oil and water pressure here, and then hidden behind my MG key I've got the fuel, which says half full, but we'll see how far we get. You do notice quite how long the nose is, not quite sort of Jaguar long, but it does have quite a lot of front to it, this car. Now you can get into a lot of classic cars and then be quite underwhelmed by the performance, but this will do 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds, which is really pretty quick. I haven't driven the standard MGA, so I've got no comparison of the difference in power, but it is considerably more powerful, this twin cam. But actually I don't think I'd be too upset if I had the standard MGA, because quite frankly, driving around like this, an open top car with your arm resting on the bodywork through these villages, is absolutely delightful. It's spot on. It's not a heavy car, but you do have to give it a bit of a tug to get it to where it wants to go, and again, pretty decisive with your gear changes. Once you get the hang of it, it's nice and smooth. The clutch is actually feather light. I'm really quite surprised by that. You have this big steering wheel, sort of compared to what we drive around mostly today. This is quite an oversized steering wheel, which sort of rubs against the top of your thighs. I think a lot of us probably have quite romantic views about classic car ownership and driving around on beautiful sunny spring days. Well, those dreams can come true, because here we are, gorgeous spring day, English countryside, with the authentic cow manure smell, and it's an absolute delight. And really, if you're going to go in for that experience, is there any better way than an MGA twin cam? Not for my money. This car is an Old English white, which is an original colour, a colour which I think looks brilliant, particularly with this bright red interior, and this one has the red hood to match as well. It looks the absolute business, whether the hood's up or down, quite frankly. What a lovely car this would be to go on a road tour in. Decent enough luggage space behind, very comfy seats, and enough power to blast around any of these roads. If you're looking for a classic with drop-dead good looks and racing pedigree, then this is bloody hard to beat. The only thing is, if you buy a car like this, you're going to have to factor in plenty of time, because when you go on a drive, you'll end up just sitting there, just gawping at it. It is that gorgeous. This one is live now on collectingcars.com, so head over to the website, check out this MGA twin cam and all the other consigned cars. Thanks for watching and see you soon.